Hi, World Pathfinder. It is another great opportunity to be connected with you. I've had a lot of feedback, and today I want to address, one of the feedbacks that I always get, questions that I always get, new venture. The reason that I cannot start is because I don't have capital. A lot of people are saying the reason that they can't start a new venture is because they don't have capital. So today we're looking at new venture, the capital excuse. A lot of people give capital as an excuse. And this is because, people don't have knowledge of who an entrepreneur is. The Harvard Business School define an entrepreneur as people that pursue opportunities beyond, the resources they currently control. So you are pursuing opportunities that is beyond the resources that you currently, control. So that means that an entrepreneur does not have to have the resources, to start a new venture. That's what that definition, tells us clearly. So what do you need? What do you need for you to be able to start a new venture, even without having anything capital at all? So I'm going to tell you about 5 things or 5 steps that you need to, go through before you even begin to talk about capital. The first one is that you need to identify a gap in the market. And that's the first place to start. You don't need capital, for instance, to identify, a gap in the market. So what is the gap in the market? What are the unmet needs in the market? What are the latent needs in the market? So once you are able to identify a gap in the market, that is even the first place, to start from. We're not even talking about capital first. So the first one, you identify a gap in the market. The unmet need in the market, the latent need in the market. This is where you start from. The second process is that, you devise a differentiated product. All right? So a product that is different from what, is there out there in the market. So you are coming up with a superior, solution, to meet that gap that you have identified in the market. It's important to ask yourself, the question, how does my solution, superior, how is it superior to the other solutions in the market? Why will people leave where they are right now? Because there is switching costs to move from what solution they are using right now to your own. So what is different from, what is the differentiation in your product that will cause people to leave their existing solution, to move to your own, whatever. And this is very important. Then you also need to test, this. You need to validate, from the market that this differentiated product is actually what, the market wants. Why must you do that, okay? There's what we call false starts. You need to avoid false starts. What is false start? False start is to ensure that, okay, you didn't achieve the 3 feats that you're supposed to achieve in the market. What are the 3 feats? The first feat is that the people you think have the need actually have the need. So that means the customer, there's a fit between the customer and their need as you have assumed. This is the first thing you want to test in the market. Now the second thing also is that there's a fit, between, your value proposition, okay, and the needs that the customer have. So you want to ensure that first and foremost, the assumption that there's a gap in the market is true, that these people actually have the need that you're trying to solve. Then the second one is to find out there's a fit between your value proposition and your product and the needs that they have in the market. And the third one is that there's a fit between your value proposition and the business model, okay? But yet we are not yet in it. So let's assume that at this stage, you are validating that the need in the market meet these 2 fits. The first one, otherwise you have a false start, okay? Or you do have, what you have, you find out that few people show excitement, but you don't have the large market size, to meet that need. So the first one is that there's a gap. The second, process is that, you have been able to come up with a differentiated product. And the third one is that what happened, you are trying to validate that, that differentiated product is actually differentiated, is actually meeting the needs in the market. So you ensure that the customers actually have the need, okay, and the solution you are bringing actually solve the problem. So you need to validate it. And that is done by a process that is called structural experimentation. And this is done at the second phase of our 5-phase value thinker business building model. So this is where you validate that the customer, and you actually get feedback from the customer. When you are doing this, okay, you are actually building your customer database because you are talking to people. You are knowing people that have interest. You are generating customer database as you are doing this. At this time, you are not even talking about capital first, because you are not even sure that your differentiated product is actually differentiated, is what the market wants. So the first process is that identify a gap, come up with a differential product. You need to validate the product, okay? And the fourth one is you come up with a proven business model. You need to go back to some of our videos where we talk about the 9 building blocks of the business model. The first one is the customer segment, the customer relationship, the channel, the value proposition, the key activity, the key resources, and the key partners, and your revenue stream and your cost structure. So you need to build a business model because your differentiated solution has to sit on a good business model. At this fourth phase, you are not even talking about capital yet. Then, you may need some partners. You may need some bedfellows. At this point where you have tested that, you have found a gap in the market, you have a differentiated product that you have been validated in the market, and you have a business model that can do that, this is where you now begin to look for investment. What are the investors looking for? So you don't have to have the money, okay, if you have a good idea that is proven, okay, because at the time that you are doing the experimentation, you are getting, feedback. You are having data that shows that people actually want, the product. So it is this time that you now begin to look for investors that will invest in your idea. And what are the investors looking for? If you want to do your pitch, you want to pitch your opportunity, the first thing that the investors want to see is that, those 2 fits, that there's actually a need in the market. That's the first thing that they want to establish. The second thing that they want to establish is that, you have what it takes, to deliver that solution, okay? Not just you, maybe you and your team, okay? And the last one is that the business model demonstrates that there's a long-term sustainability, as far as the business is concerned. We call this, the real, the win, and the worth it model. It's at this point that you begin to look for investment, you begin to look for money, for your business. So you will find out that money, capital is not the first thing, okay? Is to define the opportunity, is to have a proof of concept, that opportunity is valid, people are ready to pay for it, and at the time that you are done the validation, you have enough data, to do your pitch deck, to pitch to, prospective investors, that will now bring money to your product, to your venture. So you don't have to have the capital, okay, for you to build a new venture. There are people out there that have a lot of capital looking for valid opportunity, tested concepts that they want to invest in. But you need to be able to ensure that you have identified the gap in the market, you came up with a differentiated product or service, you have validated it, and you have a business model, that supports it. Once you have this, you don't have a problem with capital. You'll be able to demonstrate to investors, that you have, the opportunity that they'll be waiting for. I hope this answered the question, and the excuses that I don't have capital, to do business. Thank you, and see you next week.